Well, hello everybody. I've been wanting to make manicotti for a while now. I keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, but I've got people asking me, when are you going to make manicotti? So I've decided I'm going to go ahead and do it today. I started by going out in the garden and I harvested some fresh Malabar spinach, or not Malabar spinach, perpetual spinach, I'm sorry. And I'm going to proceed to wash some of this. Break the stems off of it. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and heat my pot up. I'm hoping you can see what I'm doing. I'm just washing it off, each individual leaf, right under the faucet. Now, if you don't have a garden and you need to get spinach, just get you a 10-ounce package of frozen spinach. It'll work just as well as what I'm using. I am breaking the stems off of it. Let's see if I can get it up here closer so you can actually see what I'm doing over here. I'm just guessing at how much spinach I've got. I'm hoping this is enough. But, you know, like I said, recipes are not written in stone. Some of them are not exact science, so if I don't have quite enough, like 10 ounces of spinach, then so be it. I may have a little bit more than that. I don't know. I usually run mine under running water because I'm not washing that much. And rather than to fill the sink up 3 or 4 times to rinse them, I just put them under running water. And then we got all these little tidbits. We'll put on a towel. And I'll put those in my compost tea bucket later. Go ahead and put my Now, what I was doing while I was washing that is heating this pot up so I can just drop my washed leaves right in the hot water. And I'm going to split it up a little bit because I don't want great big pieces in my manicotti. Get them down to manageable sizes because we got to mix this in with some other ingredients. And you don't want a great big old leaf to try to mix in, so. You always know, they say a watch pot never boils. But we're just going to boil these for a couple of minutes. Until they're wilted down good. I'm hoping this pan is going to be big enough. But I've got a box of manicotti shells. But you see, they're not very big. I mean, they're bigger round than they are long or anything. So I'm hoping we can do this. do need a mixing bowl. And I'm short, y'all, so it's a job trying to get into anything in my cabinets since I'm so short. And my manicotti, my ricotta cheese is frozen. It got pushed to the back of my... But it'll thaw out in a few minutes. Yeah, I find it really convenient when you have recipes like that. If you just need a little bit of spinach, you know, you can go right out in your garden and harvest some. We've got ricotta cheese, we've got Parmesan, mozzarella, and I think they're all in the refrigerator. So let's move this camera to the side. Y'all can watch the pot for a minute. Found my bags of Parmesan and mozzarella. Looks like I need to get me a new strainer. This one's pretty old and it's not rusted, it's just discolored. It makes it look bad, but it's perfectly clean. Turn that off, and all I'm doing is get all of my spinach up in my little strainer and see if I can drain all the water off of it. And I'm just going to let that drain there for a little bit. And we need, let's see, 1.5 cups of mozzarella. That's probably about a cup in there. It's 8 ounces, 2 cups it says. So I'll keep a little bit in there. We don't need it all. It said 1.5 cups. And that little package is 2 cups. You just love it when you don't get your, here it's sealed. And we want 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese. This is grated Parmesan. You can see, or shredded, I'm sorry, not grated, shredded. That's 1/2 cup. Oh goodness, I can't get this pulled off. My hands are too slick. There you go. And it says 15 ounces of ricotta cheese, and that little cup is 15 ounces exactly. That's going right in the thing here. And it still froze, y'all, but it's going to have to thaw out. Break it apart, it'll thaw out a lot faster. We just need some salt and pepper in here. And I need 1 egg. We just need to mix this all together to get that egg and all the cheese and the salt and the pepper all kind of mixed up together. And that'll help kind of defrost this ricotta cheese. It got pushed to the back of the refrigerator, and sometimes if it gets pushed to the back, whatever's back there will freeze. So that's what happened. But I'm squishing up all the big chunks, so I don't want chunks of the ricotta cheese in here. I want it all mixed up evenly if I can get it evenly. And I want this to cool as much as possible. Just going to kind of pull it apart so it will cool. Because if you put it in that mixture and it's too hot, it's going to start cooking that egg already. We don't want that to happen. Now, something different I'm going to do is I'm going to brown some ground beef. I don't put it inside my and I always said I didn't like to do this, you know, where I just dump the whole thing in there like that. But it'll work. See, I don't like doing that. So I'm going to do it the way I know to do it. Just crumble it up a little bit. It's easier to me than to take that hunk of beef and try to mash it up in the pan. And I know a lot of times, you know, they put the ground beef inside the manicotti shell, but I don't. This is going in my sauce. have some dishwater handy so I can clean my hands. Okay, remember that tomato paste, or tomato sauce we made the other day from our tomatoes? Well, there it is right there. Gonna season that with salt and pepper a little bit. I don't know what I did with my, there it is. I'm going to put just a little bit of Italian seasoning in my cheese sauce here. It consists of bay leaves, you know, all that good Italian stuff. Let's check my, yeah, it's cooled down enough, so I'm going to put my spinach in my mixture here and see if I can mix up my mixture, my cheese mixture with my spinach. Now, while this is heating up, and I'm probably going to do this like no one else has ever done it. That sealed itself, y'all. I put the lid on it when it was hot. Ooh, I'm a little hot. And I'm going to put a little bit of this that I've got, because I don't have quite enough sauce, so I'm going to put a little bit of this other sauce that I have in this jar right here, and then the rest of it I'm going to use the what I made. Now I'm simply going to take my ricotta shells, and I know this is not the way most people typically do these. A lot of people will al dente cook them, you know, not till they're too awfully soft, but a little bit soft. I'm going to try stuffing mine the way they are. Can't get that in there. See if I can get some water in here. It's a little bit thick. A little thicker than I wanted it to be. Because I want it a little bit loose because I want it to cook my noodles as it cooks everything else. I'm just hoping my pan is big enough. Or my baking dish is big enough. Now with this long spoon that I've got, I'm going to do my darndest to fill my shells up. Whoops. It's a little bit too high. Just turn it down just so it simmers so it will I'm going to try to stuff my shells like this. I don't know if it's going to work. Might take me a while. It takes you a little while to do it, but I found actually if you can get a long, small spoon, kind of like a dessert spoon, to fill these up like this, it's a lot easier than cooking them because they're not stiff, they don't stay in shape, and sometimes they'll split as you're filling them. And I figured this might be an easier way. But just get them full and see it start to come out the other side so I know they're getting full. And when it gets full, lay it down in your pan. I hope you can see what I'm doing with the camera the way it is. Here, let me bring the camera closer. Hopefully you can see. Put this down here. Turn this around, get it out of the way. Move my bowl up here so you can see what I'm doing. Yeah, I think you might be able to see a little bit better this way. See, with this spoon, I can almost go down inside these tubes. Some of them are a little bit squished, but I guess that's the way they made them. It takes a little bit of finagling to get it in there, but it does go. Might even can get some into this way. You can get it halfway in one direction, go start on the other one, meet in the middle. You can use a piping bag if you have one. I don't have one. I bought tips the other day and I didn't get a piping bag. And I got those to make a cake and I never did do it, so. Whoops. I didn't know I had it so full. It's coming out the other end. But don't forget to line the bottom of your pan, your baking dish, with some of the sauce. And I wanted that to cook just a tiny bit. I didn't want my handles of my pan over the burner though. There we go. I may have put a little bit too much water in there, I don't know. But I like a little bit of meat in my sauce when I do something like this. Even though I'm not putting the meat actually in my shells, it's going in my sauce. I mean, there should be enough liquid in my sauce to cook these noodles without drying things up. And this is a healthy meal. I mean, it's got a lot of cheese, but it's got that spinach in it, and you know, spinach is healthy. Yeah, it's getting down there. By all means, if you've got a piping bag, use it. I don't have one, so I'm doing it like this. There's always alternatives. I've got all of my manicotti shells stuffed, and they don't look too pretty in here because this was really not the right size pan for this dish, but it's going to have to work. And I'm going to take my sauce and just pour it over the top. And by the way, I've got my oven heated at 350 degrees. And I really didn't think I had quite enough sauce because it was supposed to take 32 ounces of sauce. I didn't have quite 32, so I added just a little bit of sauce that was already here. Kind of spread it around because you want to make sure you get sauce toward where all your pasta noodles are. Spilt a little bit. I don't like food on my pan. Now we're simply going to bake that for about 35-45 minutes until it gets all bubbly. And I do have to put a pan under my pasta pan because I don't want it to bubble over in my oven. So, you know, I said I always use a old sheet pan, cookie sheet, or whatever you want to call it. That way, if it does bubble over, it's going to go in the cookie sheet, not in the bottom of my oven. So, we're going to put that in there. Whoops. I forgot I had a frying pan from earlier. But we're going to put that in there and leave it 35-45 minutes until it gets nice and bubbly and those noodles are cooked. And then I'll bring you back and show you what else I'm going to do. Okay, folks, my manicotti's been cooking for, I have to say, about an hour. I left it in there just a little bit longer because I didn't pre-cook the shells, the pasta noodles, so I decided I was going to leave them in there for a few minutes longer. Also, another thing I forgot to tell you was to put aluminum foil on the top of it Wrap it in aluminum foil so the top of the noodles will get cooked. And see, it's a good thing that I put it on my baking sheet, because it's bubbling over and it's actually getting into the pan. But now what we're going to do, we're going to put just a little bit extra Parmesan on the top. And also a little bit of our leftover mozzarella. Whoops! I did not want that to come out like that. Don't want the cheese on the dish. That's where it's going. And I just had a little bit left in the bag, so I'm just going to go ahead and use it on the top. Now we're simply going to put it back in the oven for about 5 minutes, and we're going to brown the cheese. But isn't that looking good, y'all? And your oven may vary. From mine, according to the directions, it said to preheat your oven to 350. I turned mine up after I got it preheated to right at 400. So it depends on your oven. So I'm going to watch this. But yeah, I had forgot to tell you to take some aluminum foil before you put your manicotti in your oven, and wrap it around your top, seal it around the edges, and then put it in your oven and cook it for anywhere from 35-40 to an hour, maybe a little more, depending on your oven, because you want the noodles to get cooked. Usually the recipe calls for you to pre-cook those noodles before you stuff them. I find it's too messy, too cumbersome. Your noodles fall apart when you do that, or they do with me. So what I do instead is, like I told you, I stuff my shells without being cooked. And I put a little bit of extra moisture into the pan, extra sauce, or a little bit of water added to the sauce. And cook it for a little bit, maybe 10-15 minutes longer, in order to get your noodles cooked in your little dish. It makes life so much easier, I think, because anytime I've ever tried to fool with a pasta shell pre-cooked, it's hard to hold it, it's slippery, it bends, it falls over, that type of thing. So I find it so much easier just to do not cook the shell. Just stuff the shell before it's cooked and let it cook in your dish. I mean, you may have done this before. You may come out real easy with pre-cooking your shells. I don't have a good time doing that. So I like the easy way. And I found that not cooking my shells in advance helps. It makes it so much easier to fill those shells. Gonna watch it close because I don't want it to burn. Yeah, I've been meaning forever to to make this manicotti dish, and I kept telling my subscribers, yeah, I'm going to do it today, or I'm going to do it tomorrow, I'm going to do it this evening. Well, it never came, you know, that time never came. But I said, today I've got to make my manicotti. I can't keep putting it off. So we've got manicotti today. And I'll go in the garden and I'll harvest a little bit of my romaine cimarron lettuce and make me a little salad to go with my manicotti. I think it's going to be real good. It smells wonderful. It's already cooked enough. We just need to brown that cheese on top just a tiny bit. This is one of these comfort dishes. Southern comfort food, but even though it's an Italian dish, I say it's Southern comfort. Southern Italian comfort. Yeah, but anytime I can make life easier for myself, I'm going to do it. So I just wanted to pass that on to you and let you know that it's so much easier to stuff those shells if you do not cook them beforehand. I mean, they tell you to cook them al dente, you know, where they're only like half done. But even then, I still find that they fall over. You can't hold them good. You can't get them stuffed real well. They have a tendency to split open. So I'd rather do it like this. I mean, you can suit yourself. But I found this way to be so much easier for me. Almost. It's bubbling. It's smelling so good. Oh my gosh. No wonder I gained weight over the years. I love to cook and I love to eat my own cooking. And I said, well, but a better dish to make for this Mother's Day weekend than a big dish of manicotti. And I have to apologize. I left my fan running. I had intended to turn it off when I turned the camera back on and I forgot. But it's off now, so it's not making quite as much noise. But it gets hot in here when the oven's going. It's already hot. The AC's been running. So when I turn my oven on, I want my exhaust fan on so it blows, you know, pulls that hot air out as much as possible. It's getting there. Have y'all ever tried manicotti? Have you ever made it yourself? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments also some things that you'd like to see prepared in a video. I just had to take a sprig of water. I had one viewer say, well, I don't watch all your videos. They're kind of long and drawn out, and if I fast forward them, I miss stuff. Well, you know, you can't speed up cooking. I mean, I can pause the camera if something's going to be in the oven for 30 minutes. I know you don't want to just stare at the oven for 30 minutes. That type of thing. But when I'm actually preparing a dish, I can't pause the camera and do it all. You're not going to see what I'm doing. And I just finally told him, I said, well, if my videos are boring to you, what do you want to see made in a video? Well, I don't know. I have to think about that. They never have gotten back to me. But, you know, some people just like to complain. No matter what you do, it's not going to be right to some people. So I ignore it and go on and do what I want to do. The only way I know to do it. Tiny bit more and it will be ready to go. Yeah, I learned a long time ago in my life, you can't please all the people all the time. There's no way. I don't even try anymore. I've had a lot of people say, well, your videos are too long. Well, it's a video. That's why you're watching it. You're watching it to see how something is prepared. If you don't want to see it, then you don't want to take the time to watch the video, then go watch something else, I guess. If I quit opening the door so much, it might brown, hadn't it? I keep letting the heat out. And it looks like it's going to pour down rain here today, I tell you. We've had nothing but rain, 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 but at least it's been kind of skipping days to where we're not just totally flooded up here on this hill. And I'm sure my plants are loving it. They grow several inches overnight when it's raining this much. I just don't know. It's unusual weather for us. And I just don't know if it's going to do this the whole summer, the way the climate is changing. Or if all of a sudden it'll quit raining, it'll dry off, and we'll go into another drought season this summer. I hope not, but that's usually what happens in Texas. You go from one extreme to the other. Yeah, I think it's brown enough. Turn that hot oven off. But you can see the way it's bubbling up. If I did not have this sheet underneath this baking dish, I would have tomato sauce all in the bottom of my oven. Now, don't that look good? Now, I assure you all of those noodles are thoroughly cooked that's in there. That's why I put extra moisture in it, and it's all, you know, they soaked up a lot of the extra fluid or sauce, but there's still plenty of sauce in there. Now, don't that look good, y'all? You see what my dinner tonight's going to be. And I'm going to have to let it cool some before I dig into it, that's for sure. It's too hot. Way too hot to dig into it. Well, I let it sit there for about 5 or 10 minutes. It's still really a lot hotter than what I want to deal with, but I wanted to scoop some out and just put it in a dish because I'm hungry and I can't wait to dig in. Oh, I need my fork. See if I can help hold on to this. Ooh. But look at this. Look at that manicotti. Now all of those noodles are in there, the pasta that is stuffed with cheese. And look how it's still steaming. But I've got to get a little piece of this. Oh my God, that looks so good. If I can get it on the fork without it just hanging everywhere. You know how mozzarella cheese is. Look at that. Y'all take a bite. That looks good to me, y'all. Oh my God, does that look good. Mmm. Woo! Hot. That is so good. And you know, I did not put sugar in it. But I guess there was enough sugar in that sauce that it makes it just right. Now I'll take another spoonful. See the spinach in there and the cheese? Oh my God, that is so good, y'all. You gotta try some. I gotta let this cool off. I wish my son was here today so he could eat some of this. If he happens to come tomorrow, I'll send some home with him. Mmm. That's the best. Y'all, the best manicotti in the world is right there in that dish. And we just made it. So with that, I'm going to wish y'all a good day. Y'all have a blessed day. Have a fantastic evening. I'll see you on my next one. Love y'all. Bye. Y'all, this is the best manicotti in the whole world. Please try this recipe. And if you made some of your own fresh homemade tomato sauce, that's even better. It's a lot better than the store-bought if you put fresh homemade tomato sauce that you made out of your own tomatoes in your pasta dish, in your manicotti. I guarantee you, you will not go wrong. This is a beautiful dish, and I think you will love it. Look at that. See how I put the extra liquid in there, the little bit of water to my sauce? And that was just to add enough so it would cook the noodles without getting dry. And see, it's still not dry. It's not watery, but it's not real dry either. So it came out just right. And we'll talk to you next time. Love y'all.